Ancient Gear Golems, they do attacking, they do piercing, and a lot of times you can't actually respond with spell and trap cards.
Sometimes not even monster effects, depending on which one it is, but Merchon gets to activate a monster effect without issue here. Very familiar Snake Eye combo here, going from Ash into Poplar on the field.
Now, I think we're maybe thinking, oh, this has to be Tenpai. Oh, going second, which other deck's going to make me go first?
I mean, there couldn't be any other battle phase decks out there, but again, we're seeing that duelists are making a lot of their own choices here, right? Not listening to the chaff out there on the radio waves, deciding, you know what, this is what I'm comfortable with, I'm just going to play it.
I think there's also the element of surprise, like especially when people have certain expectations going into the tournament. They're like, oh, I know how to play against this deck. Well, what if you play against something you completely don't know? There's a certain amount of time they're going to have to slow down a little bit, pick up the card, read the card, because, hey, there's quite a bit of card text on those cards that you don't know.
Well, we also know because of points of interaction being just so important, you know, whether it is, you know, Ash Blossom Joyous Spring or even some of the other cards we've seen, if you don't know the deck, you don't know where the choke point is, and so you don't really know what it is that you should stop. You just see something that sounds good and try to stop it there. But speaking of sounding good, we are going to the Fiendsmith combo here, likely as we see the Moon of the Closed Heaven appear on the field.
Seems like we're going to be shifting gears into Fiendsmith land. Are we going to disrupt this card? Or is Corbin just that comfortable? Like letting someone go first, going into a Fiendsmith, maybe he's expecting it, maybe this is what he's practiced for.
Let everybody just do whatever it is they want to and then show up with the Ancient Gears and leave their head spinning. And speaking of spinning, we're going to go back into the deck here and spin out the Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon.
I mean, this is a high-level Yu-Gi-Oh! Here with Fiendsmith Snake Eye. Interweaving the play is probably one of the best things you can do. And leaving that Flamberge onto the field is essentially insulating yourself against cards like Nibiru. If your board gets wiped, you do get to follow up with additional monsters, which is very, very pivotal here.
Certainly Nibiru always has an impact, but a lot of great duelists have been just playing through it because it shows that you can't just win with one card. You're definitely going to need multiple ways to interact. And speaking of multiple ways to interact, looks like that's what we're setting up here as Merchon takes a look at the graveyard for the next play.
I mean, this is essentially an uninterrupted combo. We're going to see full combo from Fiendsmith Snake Eye. We're going to proceed with a Link Summon. That's going to be Fiendsmith Sequence. Holding it,
there,
committing it.
There it goes.
Yep. New chain. Flamberge chain like 1. Summon 2. Okay, level 1.
And just some very familiar Snake Eyes plays here, of course, bringing out the Snake Eye Oak and using it to bring out the Snake, or Scooby, having those come out from the Flamberge Dragon.
I mean, the board is being built. We're going to see where this one's going to end up. I mean, sometimes people have different types of end boards. When you go complete undisrupted, likely you're going to go for the comfort choices.
Now, are the comfort choices based on the fact that he thinks his opponent is playing Tenpai, or is Corbin famous enough for his incredible tournament run that if you see this guy coming, you know he is going to be running Ancient Gear?
I think Ancient Gear is just going to be, you know, the surprise matchup. Like, surprise, once that first monster comes down, maybe we'll see a little bit of a facial expression change. Like, wait, I don't know what these cards do.
Definitely have to be watching Merchon's face there once the first Ancient Gear monster hits the board. But speaking of hitting the board, looks like we are taking a look at the extra deck here. And we're going to pull out
IP Masquerena. Okay. It's a great setup here. What a wonderful setup. We're getting basically access to every single major combo piece. Sequence and IP Masquerena going into a 2-material Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess.
Does have that little bonus there from IP Masquerena, but of course we are going to go Fiendsmith time. Sequences effect and Engraver passing over the table. It is a relatively new card, right? You feel like you've seen it quite a bit, but it's only been tournament legal since yesterday.
So that's going to be, I think it's Engraver that's going to be putting back something. So we are passing it to the judge to confirm the card effect. No, new cards, as you just said.
Brand new stuff there, but looks like Fiendsmith Sequence going back into the extra deck to show up later in the duel, and Fiendsmith Engraver on the field. Again, you would never know what's coming at this post of the duel. Nothing strange here yet.
Now we're going to take the 2 monsters that are not Appaloosa, and we're going to continue to Link Summon them. Which monster are we going to come out? This is pretty generic. We got ourselves a Diabell Star. And we are remaking Sequence. Now, Sequence, I believe that one is not once per turn. Only Requiem is. Now we're going to use the effect of Sequence.
Oh, wow.
We're going to go for 3. We're going to see a little bit of a Desiree play right here. That's 3 material. That's not Lacrima.
Now, Desiree had made such a huge impact yesterday, but we haven't seen it show up that much on the featured match stage. And again, powerful as it might be, again, with that non-targeting negate.
Now we're going to be going into Wanted. That is the Secret of the Sinful Spells. We're going to get the Diabel Star, the Black Witch. Okay. Okay, I guess now we're going to continue on. We're going to try to push forward into the Snake Eye side of things. Now note that there is still the copy of Sequence on the field. That is a Link 2. And without any type of restriction, that can quite easily climb into the Promethean Princess. This is a very secure board. There's going to be a lot of cards on the field that's going to do something. And once we put that Sequence into the graveyard, I can't imagine that not coming back onto the field as an equip to keep that Desiree from being targeted.
Mertjon certainly having a good time there. A lot of smiles in between effect resolution saying, really? Okay, we're really doing this. And
let's see how comfortable he is once we start seeing the new cards come out.
That is true. It's one thing to have just your ideal board. Is your ideal board enough for a deck that doesn't care?
I want to see the surprise here, but we are continuing our play. We have the Snake Eye Ash summoned out. And now we got into the Promethean Princess. Promethean Princess being on the field. I think we're going to see another interesting play here because we have Desiree. To use Desiree on the turn 1, we can just negate our own Promethean Princess to get out of our own Firelock so that you can use the maximum material from that card. Or maybe just get rid of it quite quickly and just go into some simple Link monsters.
There's nothing simple about what we've got so far. Again, Mertjon has taken so much of the board here, right? Just establishing so many great cards, but he doesn't know what's coming yet. No, it might be one of those things where it's a commentator curse. Maybe it fails to launch, but you don't get this far in the tournament with a deck like Ancient Gear without really knowing how to play through different scenarios, just like the one that Mertjon is presenting right here.
And we are going to attempt to use the negate, I believe.
Yeah. Hello, read it.
Are we turning off our own Promethean Princess?
I think we are.
Yeah.
We're going to negate it, and we're going to take away the Flamberge Dragon. That's very interesting. I mean, I don't think that is what you want. But okay, we're leaving Promethean Princess up. That's very interesting.
All right, now here's where it gets different, duelists. Get ready for a wild ride. Even we don't know what to expect again, but this is going to be really exciting either way.
We'll start by activating Magical Hound. We're going to target your...
We're going to go with Magical Hound.
Look at the gasp from Mertjon.
Magical Hound is going to get rid of one of the spell and trap cards that's face up, and that's going to be returning it back to hand, and you get to summon out this Machine Tuner straight from the hand.
Sequence.
You were right. Mertjon was not ready for this. He's just going to have to play it like jazz.
Wait a second. What are these cards?
That's not Senpai.
Yeah, I can do Hand or Brave.
Yeah. Also, I think Magical Hand can also activate the graveyard too.
It's a really good card. Again, there's a lot of overlooked cards because people, they like to play what they like to play, but we're going to see how good Ancient Gear is shortly.
Magical Hound, fantastic. I think we're attempting to get rid of the Sequence.
Summon?
Good. We will...
Okay, we got rid of the Sequence, so the Desiree does not have the negation anymore.
Interesting.
And then I can't set for the rest of the turn.
That is going to be an Ancient Gear spell card.
Now, he cannot set for the rest of the turn, though. That's funny. It is basically just going to be all gas and no breaks from here on. Looks like it is Ancient Gear.
Ancient Gear Advance.
Advance. Okay, so Ancient Gear Advance will not... Well, basically, you can't set cards for the rest of the turn, but also when you do perform a tribute summon of the Ancient Gear, you actually don't have to tribute anything. You just normal summon out the Ancient Gear monster.
So reading along with Mert here, when this card is activated, add an Ancient Gear spell or trap from your deck to your hand, except Ancient Gear Advance. Once per turn, tribute a monster, draw a card, and apply this effect. You can normal summon another Ancient Gear or level 5 or higher monster.
And now we also got Fortress into our hand. That's the spell card of choice.
Use the effect of Advance Tribute to draw a card.
Oh. Gonna be putting that into the graveyard. I guess gonna get Ghost Ogred. Wow, that could hurt. Oh, wow, the one-up called by the Grave.
Hey, you called it right. That could hurt, but called by the Grave is going to point that finger across the board and say, this is staying on the field.
Yeah, you also got that one card draw from, I believe, Magical Hound.
Activate Fortress.
Now we're activating Fortress. So Fortress, during the turn, they were normal summon, normal or special summon. You cannot target the Ancient Gear monster with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects.
Well, the Fiendsmith Desiree may come into play. Remember, it is non-targeting negation there, but
there's more. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of Ancient Gear cards and effects. We're talking about complete lockdown of any additional disruption when it comes to leaving that card on the field. It's very, very dangerous.
Really cool stuff to see. You can see how he got this far without the ability for his opponent to respond between the Ancient Gear Fortress and the Ancient Gear Advance. He's easily able to add that Ancient Gear Fusion.
Now we got to the Ancient Gear Fusion. That's a lot of monsters on the field. And what's scary about having a lot of monsters on the field is that there are multiple Ancient Gear Golem-esque monsters that can attack multiple times. In fact, some can even attack all your monsters, and it's not a small monster.
Big damage without the ability to respond. That sounds like the combination for a great deck here.
So we're going to be adding 2 spells.
I'll add these and then I'll
So that is the effect of the Ancient Gear Dark Golem. If that manages to come onto the field, you get to add 2 Ancient Gear cards into your hand.
And or Gear Town. So the sky's the limit in terms of choices, but looks like we're going to add another copy of the Fortress there just to be protecting that monster.
Ancient Gear Fusion has been activated. Now you can use Ancient Gear Golems in your deck as material. Otherwise, you're going to have to do the regular fusion, and we're just going to launch them into the graveyard.
No, you're fine.
It's up to them. I have no idea.
No, I'll get sent it.
Ancient Gear Commander?
Yeah, you're good. I'll just...
Hey, there's that glorious dual disc across its chest.
Yes.
Don't worry, we're chilling. We're going to have fun.
Yeah, that's right.
How many materials are we going to go for here?
You can see Mert laughing and smiling there. He knows he is in for a wild ride.
Yeah, I know. I connotated towards that. They're
I should have read it.
Looking for that guy.
So is it Ancient Gear card effects on field or anywhere?
And we're taking so many of these monsters as fusion material, and that is going to be Chaos. Ancient Gear Giant.
4,500 attack, combining 4 Ancient Gear monsters. Again, for those who are, well, unfamiliar with these cards, it's unaffected by spell and trap effects, and your opponent cannot activate effects during their battle phase. This card attacks all monsters your opponent controls once each.
What's the damage? What's the damage we're looking at here?
Big numbers, because when it attacks the defense position monster, not that there are any, would also do piercing damage. It is the perfect card to get through here.
Is anybody reading this
It
card?
is at
everybody. He asked the crowd, is anybody reading this?
100 attack points and attacks everything.
Monster cannot activate their effects during the battle phase. Okay.
We are. This feels like the Tenpai Transcendent Dragon.
It definitely does. The battle phase is dominated by more than just one deck. There's a lot of great options out there, and so that Chaos Ancient Gear Giant is here to show exactly how Corbin got this far in the tournament.
Forbidden Droplet. All right, we're activating Forbidden Droplet onto, and we're sending away the Promethean Princess.
Trying to get rid of it, though. Mert is not out of the duel yet, so during the open game state, going to go ahead and bring out the Ivan Masquerena.
It is unaffected by spells and traps. I think he just put out a smaller monster onto the field.
And then you can't respond. So yeah.
So it's still 4,500.
Still huge.
Well, as Dr. Crowler always says, this might be a lesson in how not to duel, because again, you see this, you're going to have to get rid of it without a spell or trap.
Welcome to Slifer Red, Mert.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I doubled down on that. I don't want you to touch this man.
We are going to go into a massive battle phase. Last I checked, 800 is not bigger than 4,500.
I guess Chaos Ancient Gear Giant could go ahead and take the Forbidden Droplet and feel no effects afterwards.
We are trying to clear off as many monsters as possible. We got to get rid of all the lowest attack monsters as much as possible right now. This is crucial. And I don't think that Flamberge is going to be summoning any additional monsters in that battle phase when it's sent to the graveyard.
You do not want to put anything in defense mode when literally you're about to get hit by maybe 4,000 or more. Piercing battle damage. This is insane.
I don't think we're done.
You can't.
is that?
That's a 4 and a 2.
Oh, I need to make a 3.
Yeah.
I need to use one more.
They can't go into the Axis Code Talker either.
There you go. I'm out of my mind.
Now we can. Now we can.
Mert
Okay.
admitting that he is out of his mind here. We are too, just seeing some incredible plays.
Okay. Now that access code can be very big because there was a link 4 used as a material. That's going to add 4,000 attack points to it. That is bigger than the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Not giant enough, apparently. Oh, but we're not done.
No, I don't think you would ever be done with a deck like this.
Ancient Gear Frame has been summoned onto the field.
That was a normal summon.
And that one is doing what?
And you can discard one card to add one Ancient Gear Golem or one spell or trap card that lists Ancient Gear Golem in its text from your deck to your hand.
You get to resolve them. I'm just going to look at it.
Yeah, okay.
You started your turn with Hound.
Mert taking just a moment to read through the cards for next turn. Again, that Magical Hound did so much to get us set up in here. And again, the Ancient Gear Frame just showcasing that this is not the only play the deck has. It is not a one-trick pony. It has some subsequent options, and now we're going through the deck to find exactly what the next option is.
ADB.
I think they're just confirming the summon count at this moment. Like, is that summon legal? Is that what they're confirming?
Search for Ancient Gear.
I think it was legal. We're going to get the search for the trap card. I think that's either Ancient Gear Drill or sorry, Ancient Gear Duel or Reborn.
Well, I guess we're about to find out, but it looks like we're going to go ahead and banish the Ancient Gear Commander.
And then this guy, while he's out, my Ancient Gear monsters are unaffected by
Ah, it's the Ancient Gear Duel, making the monster unaffected even further.
I think just locking your opponent out from so many effects is just insane, incredibly powerful. Definitely everyone's rooting for Corbin at the moment. We can hear the crowd.
Well, I don't think they've seen anything like this before.
You added this off of this and something off of this.
For those in the crowd who don't know what the card does, again, Ancient Gear Golem and monsters that mention it in your monster zone are unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. Ancient Gear Duel is pushing this to a new level.
I think there's a little bit of a wall from the Axis Code Talker. Definitely coming in very, very clutch to wall off at the moment.
Hey, if you're staring down a big monster, the only thing you can try to do is make an even bigger one.
Yeah.
Do you have any gear effects, by the way?
Ooh, we got another monster summon onto the field.
Looks like the Reactor Dragon.
Are they protected by anything at all?
Monster effects. And spell, or sorry,
I think we're just trying to lock down that entire battle phase. Is there an attacker that just negates the monster on attack, and that would take care of Axis Code?
That would do it.
Yep.
and then can't be targeted.
There's no targeting. There's just so much saying, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Well, it is the deck the teacher runs, right? He is instituting some rules here.
Ancient Gear Ballista has been now summoned onto the field, the Link summon. And I believe we're going to be adding a ancient, rather a low attack monster into our hand, or is this going to be an Ancient Gear card? Well, I thought it was going to be Ancient Gear box, but that's just for the Earth Machines. We're not in Earth Machine mode at the moment. We're playing Ancient Gears. We got Gear Town.
Or just Gear Town.
We're going the distance.
Effective Ancient Gear Ballistas, and we're going to destroy the Gear Town.
Yeah.
Now, certainly by getting out another level 8 monster, that could really spell some doom for the opponent there. Maybe accessing the extra deck to do something interesting to get rid of the Access Code Talker, so it's no longer on the field. Mert smiling, taking this in great stride.
Unfortunately, that Access Code Talker cannot be destroyed by card effect. Remember, it was summoned through IP Masquerena.
That's true.
So destruction might not be the answer here. But we did just destroy the Gear Town.
Oh, no, he didn't.
No. August enter battle.
Yeah.
We're going to enter battle phase. It seems like, oh, we don't get to the maximum push. Okay.
Yes.
We're passing turn here. We can't break over that Access Code Talker.
So just a big monster was enough to get it done.
To destroy that, yeah.
Okay. Seems like we're playing the game of numbers now. Seems like Mert is not going to be sent to Slifer Red just this yet. We're not failing that dueling exam.
He could still qualify for Obelisk Blue before we know it, but he has a long road ahead of him. But the Access Code Talker will help quite a bit with a graveyard loaded up with different Link monsters and attributes.
Yes, it can.
Does anything happen when it dies?
No.
So nothing will trigger when it dies.
Yeah, nothing will.
Wow, there's just so much going on here. So many monsters. I think Mert revolved that play, or managed to just kind of come out of that just at the skin of his teeth.
He made it to the other side, but that's all you got to do. So again, unfortunately, Access Code Talker, if you're an Ancient Gear stan, it is going to go ahead and beat down that monster. Now, again, for those of you watching at home, there was a procedural error minor for the illegal activation of that Ancient Gear Catapult, but don't worry, it is not going to affect anything. It is just a warning.
Effect. Special from Braver.
That's crazy. Very good.
I think the emotions have sort of tempered down now that we have a simplified game state. We're still resolving things, but the big moment just didn't happen there. Access Code Talker, what a great card, and showcasing something that really you don't think about. You think about the big attack points for offensive abilities, but you don't really think about it for defending your own life points. We're just a big monster in a clutch like that.
Yep. Discarding.
Wow. That was an incredible turn. I was a bit surprised of the outcome, but here we are still in the Swiss round 7, game number 1.
Bert's still sort of beside himself.
I mean, he lost the Flamberg Dragon without any effect because that was just a little bit too dangerous to kind of do anything, and I think you just can't respond for the most part. It's just this crazy lockout in that battle phase. It feels like Tenpai, but you're not Tenpai. We're just a bunch of stones put together.
Big old Earth Machine showing that the old ways are still good. Again, Ancient Gear. Incredible to see after all these years, but hey, this is the same year that Ubel's been at the top tables too.
Now, I don't know. I think because we are not able to set any cards, the limitation kind of comes in where you're not going to have spells and traps to disrupt, you know, a following turn.
Wow.
So you're kind of a bit of an open book now.
A little bit. Unfortunately, the penance that you have to pay in order to play this powerful deck is that you cannot defend yourself. You just make big cards and go in.
We're going back into Ancient Gear Ballistas. You can add an Ancient Gear monster.
Oh, no infinite permanence. It was summoned this turn, so unfortunately the Fortress says no.
You
Legal
cannot
activation
target
there.
it. No targeting.
Oh, Mert just sort of beside himself again. It is a difficult deck to play, and maybe this is how Corbin's gotten through, just showcasing decks that people didn't study when they had to do their Duel Academy homework.
So we are going to zero out that Access Code Talker. That's just a zero out, like 0 attack and defense, and you get to destroy a card you control.
That is insane.
2000.
I think this whole duel is insane at this point.
I mean, Corbin is showing his creativity, and I'm a little speechless. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit speechless here.
We talked about it before. That's why the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game is so great, because those favorites that you latch onto, eventually, just like fashion, it comes back in style. And here, we might see somebody go all the way with Ancient Gear.
Destroy this and zero that out.
So we are zeroing out the Access Code Talker. We're going to destroy the Gear Town. Gear Town is going to attempt to summon out
You can respond to this. Do you have something?
a monster, an Ancient Gear monster. Which one are we summoning? Are we summoning out?
Effect a special one.
That is going to be Ancient Gear
Ignoring
Tank?
It looks like we're special summoning out. Oh no, it's back.
Man, welcome back to the field.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Battle phase?
Yeah.
That's going to be very painful. That's at least 4,500.
Big numbers.
We're going for big damage, and big damage, we
Oh,
get Ancient.
wow.
Negate that was the only one that really could interact with the Fortress.
Now, I wonder if that was a really deliberate inclusion in the main deck to be like, I am going to be facing these Fiendsmith decks. Maybe I do need a way to get rid of the non-targeting removal, because that's kind of the only thing that would deal with Ancient Gear, because they couldn't be targeted. Maybe they can have something happen to them. But speaking of things happening, we're going to a traditional Snake Eye combo. Ash to Poplar, Poplar to the field, and Divine Temple to Snake Eye from the deck to the hand.
You're not for this one.
And the monster being placed into the spell and trap zone is going to be none other than Snake Eye, Diabell Star.
If a little lull in the storm here, Mert is really going to have to figure out what to do here. Now, there are some really cool things that Snake Eyes can do. Of course, now that it's got more level 8 monsters, could put out maybe a Hope Harbinger Dragon, which was popular at YCS Indianapolis for the deck. That would be a way to get rid of some of the spells and maybe direct some of the attacks away, but that would be a very difficult board to set up and wouldn't necessarily give you all the options you need.
Yep. Oh, we're going to activate Fiendsmith Engraver now that we've gone from the Snake Eye Ash to the Snake Eye Oak. Oak summoning back the Ash, and now we're adding a Fiendsmith track from the Engraver effect. Do you just let them develop a field full of cards at this point and just try to go to the battle phase and just swing over everything? Just mechanized melee left, 1-2, give them the good old 1-2.
It seems like that might be Corbin's going first plan. Again, because he cannot set cards because of the effects of his own Ancient Gear cards. You kind of just have to play it, right? You're either in it to win it or you're not, but that's gotten him pretty far. Speaking of far, looks like we are seeing Fabled Lurie flung from the deck into the graveyard with a discard, so it'll probably be coming back soon.
It has to come back. It's mandatory.
There we go.
Chaining 2 at all? I do not.
Mandatory effect. Fabled Lurie, onto the field you go.
No DD Crows here.
Okay, once we get that light being established, of course,
Oh.
how are we weaving our combo now?
So many bodies on the field.
Oh, this is interesting. We're immediately using the fusion effect of Fiendsmith's Tract.
I'll send him to the graveyard, I believe.
And that's going to be summoning out Lacrima. Because that was only 2 monsters. Here we go. 2 light fiend monsters.
Anything on this?
You're going to summon back the Fiendsmith Engraver. And we are going to continue to perform our Link Summon. Or is that the effect? No, we're looking at the extra deck. Link Summon of IP Masquerena. I mean, it's a really good card to even just load into the graveyard just in general.
Certainly with Flamberge Dragon at the ready to place it in the spell and trap start and get it back on the field. But now it looks like we're going to combine these 2 level 6s as we open up the overlay network into...
Are we going to go into Beatrice? We are going to go into Beatrice, the Lady of Eternal.
Now, certainly this deck has a wide range of options. You almost wonder if a High Wave King Caesar might be a good option in order to stop it. But without the ability to even respond to a lot of these Ancient Gear cards, maybe not. There's not any good, straightforward answers.
So we summon out the Snake Eye Diabell Star by placing the Poplar back into the spell and trap zone from the graveyard. We're going to continue to use the effect of Snake Eye Oak, likely summoning into a Flamberge Dragon. Snake Eye's Flamberge Dragon summon onto the field.
Every play is very important here, but what is the end board? That's going to really determine whether or not Corbin is able to punch straight through with another mechanized melee. I know we're having a great time here, but again, this is the North American World Championship qualifier, so Mert has to figure out how to get through this round alive.
I just want to emphasize that Corbin's record is 5 wins, 0 losses, and only 1 draw.
Which means technically, he's never been beaten.
Yeah, technically, never been beaten. Therefore, I mean, people that are watching from home, they're probably going to be looking through all those common cards, those Ancient Gear common cards from the recent releases, and just maybe this is the deck I take to locals next week.
Well, take a lesson from Professor Corbin. He might show you exactly how to play this deck. It's been so much fun to watch so far. Mert setting up his field, though, trying to figure out, okay, they're coming. I better get ready. Now, using the Angel of Blue Tears, they are so impactful during day 1.
Oh, Angel of Blue Tears is going to be a very dangerous counter towards Corbin. Angel of Blue Tears is going to be one of those cards that you're going to be able to get a trap card set straight into, well, you're going to be able to get a trap card into your hand, and that's going to be very, very dangerous. Because once you set that trap card, it's likely going to be a dimensional barrier. I'm going to take that assumption because that's like one of the best ways to prevent the fusions from happening. But would the regular monsters from Ancient Gear be enough to actually take them out?
No, maybe not. We've seen so many interesting trap cards there, so it looks like we are going to go ahead and banish the Angel of Blue Tears and find out exactly what trap card Mert has sort of carefully crafted his deck, and I think I just saw it. Was a different dimension ground?
It was a different dimension ground. Will that be enough, though?
Well, you take away the graveyard, and that is going to offset some of the plays, so maybe Mert has figured out what the weakness of this is, and maybe it's just that Corbin hadn't run into a deck that was main decking Dimension Shifter, and maybe just robbing him of the graveyard will stop the Ancient Gears.
I wonder if that even is like maximum effect. I mean, taking away the fusions, you know you're not going to get mechanized melee to the ground. Will that be enough? Are the cards just being summoned from deck? We still have access to Ancient Gear Fusion as well. It is going to be a different dimension ground.
Interesting there.
Look at the Nightmare Phoenix.
I'm seeing new stuff too, so
I'm just
we're going to go to Hita now.
It's your deck.
Both duelists, by the way, having a great time. It shows you that even if you are a serious duelist, it doesn't mean you always have to be serious. You can be a championship competitor with a smile.
Now, this is quite smart. With the different dimension ground, the forbidden droplet that Corbin is playing will have a tougher time because you can't send monsters for the cost.
That is true.
Okay, we're into the Fiendsmith line. We're pivoting back to Fiendsmith now.
Reborn. I just noticed.
Angel of Bluetooth. What a crazy card.
Yeah. Big misplay by me, bro.
Mert not exactly happy with himself there. Maybe had a different route. We talked about this too. While people are playing some decks and cards in common, there's a lot of different directions to go. And so this choose your own adventure story, it is up to you as a duelist to figure out how it ends. And you have to be careful with what it is you decide to play.
So you're sending
All right, let's. Well, even if you do, make a little misstep, you got to work with what you got.
Attack, yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter, yeah. Probably get linked off.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to use the effect of Requiem. Requiem is going to summon out Fiendsmith Engraver. I mean, there's still a lot of options here. Let's be real.
There's a lot of different things you can play, and you got to make sure not to play on tilt. It is true that with a tournament as long as this, maybe you're going to make a misstep with so many different duels, but you got to pick yourself back up and just make the best possible board you can from here.
And if it's any deck that can pivot around their own players, Fiendsmith definitely can do that, and same with Snake Eye, and you've got both.
Ah, here comes the Desiree.
So
Yep.
2 engravers and then
2 engravers. And the Lacrima,
effects equip.
Fiendsmith Desiree now has been summoned onto the field, and we're going to attempt to equip some cards. We're going to be linking away the Cheetah, we're linking away the Sequence, and that's going to make a 2-material Appaloosa.
And it can't be destroyed by battle, at least while it's co-linked with that Nightmare Phoenix.
Yep.
So maybe that's the answer, right? I'm just going to have some non-targeting effect negation, and I'll try to protect my monsters from being destroyed by battle. Well, we'll see how it pays off as Corbin begins his turn.
I'm a little surprised that the Sequence is still in the graveyard and not exactly equipped to the Desiree to just get that 3-card negation.
Well, it looks like we're seeing Pot of Desires here. Let's go ahead and banish the top 10 and find out if it gets to resolve.
It does resolve. We're drawing 2 cards. We got to resolve the other half of it as well, the Pot of Greed face to draw 2.
Activate Advance to search for Ancient Gear Fortress.
We're going to activate Advance to search for Ancient Gear Fortress. Did Corbin even look at the cards he banished?
Well, maybe not. Maybe he's just that brave.
I mean, what if they're all banished? Got to be very careful. I mean, you still have to search for a card, but that's not a card you can declare at that point. But hey, here we go.
He's calling his shots. He knows what he wants.
I want my Fortress, and Fortress is going to start locking plays out. You know, that protection from Fortress, like, yeah, it's one turn. It's one turn they're summoned. You don't get to really interact with my cards. And we still have it. We have the Ancient Gear Fortress. That card is just incredible. It reminds me of when Branded gets to play Branded Lost. It just feels like we just minimize the interaction available.
Well, minimizing interaction is exactly what's happening here as the Ancient Gear Fortress plants itself on the mountain.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
And another Ancient Gear Fortress. You are not getting through.
That's a tough one.
The crowd is loving every minute of it. We hope you are cheering at home.
We are going to destroy one of those Ancient Gear Fortress, and when this card is destroyed in the spell and trap, so special summon 1 Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon monster for the rest of the turn except for Ancient Gear, so we're locked into Ancient Gear monsters now.
Oh, what a big problem for Corbin to have.
Oh no, my entire deck is Ancient Gear for some reason.
All right, so searching the deck now for which card we're going to bring out next.
What's the summon?
What do I need?
Who have we launched from the catapult?
You're adding to discarding one, right?
Yeah, adding to this card. Oh, no. I'm just specialing.
We're special summoning right now?
Conditions.
You're good.
I think I saw the Ancient Gear Commander there at the ready.
I mean, it is one of the best monsters to summon onto the field.
Absolutely.
I've not normaled, right? Okay.
No normal summon yet.
Tanker.
We're going to summon out Tanker.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we ended up choosing a different card here. So again, Ancient Gear Tanker, we've talked around a little bit, but if it is normal or special summon, you get to special summon another Ancient Gear monster from your hand, except Ancient Gear Tanker, ignoring its summon conditions.
Yeah,
or if your opponent controls a monster, you can even choose one from your graveyard instead.
And we're going to go for Ancient Gear Darkholm, adding 2 Ancient Gear cards to the hand.
Hey, but wait, there's more. He can also target a face-up card he controls and destroy it, and for the rest of the turn, all monster control that are Ancient Gear Golem or mention it gains 600 attack, making that kill a little easier, right? Just so many attack points that might be able to end this duel in a single battle phase.
This is incredible. Seeing Ancient Gears versus one of the favorite decks out there just duking it out.
I'll discard.
This is a reminder for any duelist at home. Next time somebody tells you not to play a deck, you put this exact duel on and show them that anything can win it.
Okay, so now we get the different dimension crown activated, so we're under essentially a dimension fissure for the turn. Is that going to matter to Corbin? Or would the dimensional barrier have been the better choice?
Well, it looks like the Wyvern's going to grab another Ancient Gear card. We're going to find out here what is next. It's true, Dimensional Barrier would have locked it out of fusions, but this is just locking it out of the graveyard. So we'll see which of those two options would have been the better one.
Oh no, he banished one of the cards he wanted.
Oh, I guess he should have checked his pot of desires there, but he can make a different choice.
I mean, you're still adding 2 cards. 2 cards of any Ancient Gear name. We got the Ancient Gear Fusion, okay.
Even if you save it for next turn, if you get it.
Yeah.
Here we go, Ancient Gear Fusion. Are we gonna go for the 4?
I think so.
Desiree's effect is actually quite interesting.
No,
Desiree doesn't target on negation.
It doesn't. So we're using 3 materials there. Oh, there's the 4th one.
I don't mind banishing all my cards. Here we go.
Not for a monster like
Nothing
that.
else.
Your opponent cannot activate cards or effect in response to your Ancient Gear cards and effects.
And they can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects.
Oh, this will get banished together.
Look at banish.
Yeah, because the... Oh, no, no, it's only monster period.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be banished because we are under DDG. Oh, there's a lot of damage here, but we still have IP Masquerade. I think we're going to attempt to clear off our own monster with IP Masquerade. Maybe put up that giant
Looks
access
too
code
similar,
once again.
right?
We're trying everything to stay alive.
Like last turn.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Big thing.
Is this a scenario that's been playing out in Corbin's head during practice time and time again? These are the boards that they're going to try to interact with me. I'm already prepared. I'm one step ahead.
He might be. I mean, you have to get something on the board that can answer that. And speaking of time, we are sort of winding down again. This is game 2, and there's only about 6 minutes left on the clock. With a battle phase-based deck, there might be a photo finish. But going in now, looks like we're on to our next Link Summon.
Oh, we are trying to zero out some monsters here. So we're going to go to Ancient Gear's Ballista. That's going to add Gear Town onto the field. What are we attempting here? I mean, don't forget that IP Masquerade can only activate during the main phase. So this may, we're attempting to leave main phase. Are we going to see the IP Masquerade activate?
This would be the one chance.
Is that 45?
Yeah, 45.
45. You're going to have to activate. This is Force. This is a Force IP Masquerade right away. We're going to take 3 monsters. We're going to clear away as much as we can. Or maybe take all 4. We can't technically take all 4, still make the access code talker.
And depending on where you place it, you might be able to co-link it and therefore keep it from being destroyed by battle, even if it does get zeroed out, although it would be painful of a punch still.
I know if
Yeah,
they're, like, if they're
absolutely.
XYZ monsters, they will not get banished.
But if it does get zeroed out, that's a lot of battle damage still going through.
So they do the play.
You got to be clear with your choices here. You got to make it clear of what you're going for in terms of what your link sum with that IP Masquerade. Are we attempting to use the IP?
Maybe the opponent had a response.
Ancient Gear.
Yeah, we are, yeah. Because
Giant.
this goes to
Chaos
grid. I can
Ancient
send all
Gear
the
Giant.
It goes to grid? Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Just big numbers, so we are still going in?
I think those are going to get banished because that is from, they're still on DDG. We're going to go to Access Code Talker. That's going to be co-linked.
Oh, sorry. This
Yeah.
Because we co-link to that. Yeah, you can just make sure you summon to the correct arrow because you can't just summon to some blank main monster zone.
Access Code Talker on the field, certainly a big monster.
And
So it cannot be destroyed by card effects. Oh, we're going to play the Ancient Gear.
target.
We're going to target the Access Code Talker and use the Ballista effect, zeroing it out.
And there's the Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, so big numbers here. Maybe the fact that it can't be destroyed by battle will actually cut against him with multiple Ancient Gear monsters attacking the Access Code Talker.
Oh, another Ancient Gear card.
Destroys this guy. And
We're
that's
destroying our own copy of Ancient
battle?
Gear Ballistas.
Yep.
Nope. Oh, that's what destroyed it. So they're just talking about which card destroyed it. But we're going to battle.
4,500?
We're going to attack for 45.
Oh, here
And
we
then attack
go!
for